Welcome to the fascinating world of ancient Egypt. In the next few minutes, we're going to unravel over 5,000 years of history, from the rise of the first pharaohs to the building of the Great Pyramids, the golden era of art and culture, and the eventual decline of this legendary civilization. We'll meet famous figures like King Tutankhamun and Cleopatra, discover how religion shaped their lives, innovations in writing, architecture, and medicine still influence us today. By the end of this journey, you'll understand why Egypt is known as the cradle of civilization. Let's dive into the history of one of the most remarkable societies in human history. Egypt's history begins around 3100 BCE when Narmer, the first pharaoh, unified Upper and Lower Egypt. This ushered in the early dynastic period where the groundwork for Egyptian society was laid. With the Nile River's fertile banks, Egyptian civilization flourished. They cultivated wheat, barley, and other crops, which led to population growth and the development of towns along the river. Hieroglyphics also began to take shape during this time. These pictorial symbols became the writing system that preserved Egyptian history, religious texts, and administrative records. Over time, Egypt's highly organized society gave rise to a system of dynasties where power was passed down from one pharaoh to the next. The Old Kingdom, known as the Age of the Pyramids, saw Egypt's rulers become godlike figures, with the pharaoh acting as a mediator between the gods and the people. This divine authority allowed them to command the construction of the Great Pyramids of Giza. Built for pharaohs Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure, these pyramids symbolize their eternal power. The construction of these colossal structures required an incredible understanding of engineering and mathematics. The workforce included thousands of laborers, engineers, and architects, all organized into a state-run system. These monuments also reflect Egypt's religious beliefs about the afterlife. The Egyptians believed that preserving the body and providing a grand burial ensured a safe passage to the afterlife. The Middle Kingdom, 2055 to 1650 BCE, was a period of cultural and political stability. After years of fragmentation, pharaohs like Mentuhotep II reunited Egypt, fostering a new era of prosperity. This period is considered the Golden Age due to the flourishing of arts, literature, and construction projects, including temples and tombs. During this time, Egypt's bureaucracy became more organized. The government managed resources more efficiently, including taxation, irrigation projects, and military campaigns. Trade routes expanded, bringing goods like gold, ivory, and incense from as far as Nubia and the Levant. Egyptian literature also thrived, with famous texts like the Story of Sinuhe and the Tale of the Shipwrecked Sailor, providing insight into their values and beliefs. The New Kingdom, 1550 to 1070 BCE, was a time of great military expansion and empire building. Pharaohs like Thutmose III and Ramses II led Egypt to its greatest territorial extent, with control stretching into modern-day Sudan and the Middle East. This era also witnessed grand temples being built, such as the Karnak Temple Complex and the temples at Abu Simbel. A significant event during this period was the religious revolution led by Akhenaten, formerly Amenhotep IV. He introduced monotheism, declaring the sun god Aten as the sole deity, effectively sidelining Egypt's traditional pantheon. His reign marked a dramatic shift in religious practices and art, with depictions becoming more naturalistic. However, after Akhenaten's death, his successors, including his son Tutankhamun, restored the traditional gods. Ramses II, also known as Ramses the Great, is one of Egypt's most famous and longest-reigning pharaohs. He ruled for 66 years, 1279 to 1213 BCE, and was known for his military campaigns, particularly the Battle of Kadesh against the Hittites. Although the battle ended in a stalemate, it led to the first known peace treaty in history. Ramses II also left behind an extraordinary architectural legacy. He ordered the construction of numerous temples, statues, and monuments, including the iconic temples at Abu Simbel, which were built to honor himself and his queen, Nefertari. Ramses' legacy was so influential that later generations revered him as the greatest of pharaohs. The late period, 664 to 332 BCE, of Egypt's history was characterized by a series of foreign invasions. Internal divisions weakened the central authority of Egypt, leaving it vulnerable to external forces. In the 7th century BCE, the Assyrians invaded and briefly controlled Egypt, followed by the Persians, who ruled until the arrival of Alexander the Great in 332 BCE. Alexander's conquest marked the end of Egypt's native rule and the beginning of the Hellenistic period under the Ptolemaic dynasty. dynasty. The Ptolemies, although foreign rulers, embraced much of Egypt's traditions. Alexander's conquest marked the end of Egypt's native rule and the beginning of the Hellenistic period under the Ptolemaic dynasty. The Ptolemies, although foreign rulers, embraced much of Egypt's traditions. The most famous of the Ptolemaic rulers was Cleopatra VII, whose political alliances with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony would shape Egypt's final chapter before its absorption into the Roman Empire. The Ptolemaic dynasty, founded by one of Alexander the Great's generals, Ptolemy I, ruled Egypt for nearly 300 years. The Ptolemies adopted many aspects of Egyptian culture while maintaining a strong Greek influence. Alexandria, the capital city during this era, became a major hub of knowledge and culture, home to the famous Library of Alexandria. The dynasty ended with Cleopatra VII, the last pharaoh of Egypt, whose dramatic relationship with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony has been immortalized in history and literature. After Cleopatra's defeat by the Roman Emperor Octavian in 30 BCE, Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire, marking the official end of ancient Egypt's sovereignty. Even though Egypt's reign as an independent power ended, its cultural achievements, from monumental architecture to advances in medicine and science, have left an indelible mark on human history. The legacy of ancient Egypt endures, inspiring awe and fascination thousands of years after its decline.